Welcome to We Watch Stupid. Today we have another special guest. My friend Alex is going to be talking with us about season 10, episode 9 of 90 Day Fiance. Welcome, Alex. Thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure to be here, Roxy.
What's your relationship with 90 Day?
I remember 2020, February, you and I and our group of friends were in Kauai right before, our lives changed. And we were all lying together in this hotel bed, and you were showing us 90 Day Fiance.
Oh my God.
It was so fun and funny, but I was like, yeah, but for me, I'm never going to watch this. And since then, since my life has changed, throughout the pandemic, I started watching a lot more reality TV. And this 90 Day, just a few months ago, I really started getting into, but I think this is my first full 90 Day Fiance season, but I've done a few before the 90 days and a few 90 Day the other way.
Oh my gosh. That's great. I totally forgot that I was like indoctrinating you all with 90 Day Fiance on that trip.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
People were pretty it was like a car crash. They didn't want to look away.
Exactly.
What'd you think about this episode? I thought it was like a little bit better than last week for sure.
Yeah, notably, a few people were missing. Jasmine and Gina were not in this episode, which was kind of nice. It really allowed me to focus in on some of our other couples. I thought this episode, a few of the couples had really kind of maybe just Manuel and Ashley. I feel like they finally had a moment of connection in this episode, which felt like a big deal.
Mhm.
But it wasn't the most drama filled episode. I loved Justin and
Nikki.
Nikki also had kind of a moment of connection in this episode too. So
Before they break up again.
I think there are a few couples that had moments of joy together that we literally hadn't seen them have moments of joy together at all.
Truly.
So.
I love how Rob got his ass handed to him by his friends that he'd been turning against Sophie this whole time.
Thank God. Those friends pulled through. I was sus because the friend previously had been super anti-Sophie.
Oh my God. Well, Tarai was anti-women. He was like, women will say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Women are snakes. And then once he actually listened to what Sophie had to say, instead of just being a dumb bro, he was like, oh, wait, Rob is an idiot. I remember.
Yeah. And it's true. Rob is an idiot. He is the one person this season I'm just I just don't want to watch this. I don't want to watch an episode because I don't want to have to look at his face.
Yeah, he's such bad dumb face, and he's just so joyless. It was kind of it felt a little bit jarring for me to see him, he was smiling and laughing in one of their ITMs this time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, this feels weird, because he's usually so serious and self-involved and being an asshole about something.
Powder for sure. He pouts.
Man baby vibes, all the vibes, because we don't have Jasmine and Gino. I was actually kind of relieved not to have them in this episode.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's feeling very repetitive at this point. She's cried on every episode of the season. They've been on 8 episodes, and she's cried and screamed on every single one.
What do you think? I mean, they're veterans at this point,
Mm-hmm.
of the show. How much of their storyline do you think is pre-produced and planned out?
90%.
Okay. I was feeling too. But I find it's this kind of beautiful, like, blending of, like, scripted and reality. Because seeing him and her act, like, the whole lipstick scene was I thought it was actually incredible. Like, I think that was kinda genius.
Yes. So, like, I don't doubt that, like, these things happen, like, maybe some of these things are reenactments of things that have, like,
Mm,
actually happened in their relationship, but it does feel kind of manufactured. What I am kind of getting joy out of at this point with them is how bad of an actor Gino is
yes,
because it
yes.
is semi-scripted and it's just, like, so easy to see. Like, he gives it away every time, and so
Mhm.
with them, because 'cause they're just not as funny as they were on Before the 90 when it was very, like, heightened and more real, I believe. I just have to, like, kinda take joy in how fucking bad of an actor he is and how dumb he is.
Yeah, but the bad acting lends so well to just be like, "Oh, he's lying. He's lying to her," which he probably is too, like
He's a full-on piece of shit. Like, he is
yeah.
I am always gonna be team Jasmine, A, because at least she's fucking funny. Gino is not funny.
I I do find Gino pretty funny. Like, I mean, like, the worst way, but just, like, the way he says, "Panama,
Panama.
Panama." Like, oh my god. The toilet when she came over,
Ugh,
like,
oh my god.
when I think of them now, all I can like, when she first got the rash,
Yes.
like, I just, like I think of her in Michigan, and I just feel the rash and her, like, long nails itching it all over my body, like, oh my god, like, she's that's, like, physiologically, her body's like, "Get me out of here, something is deeply wrong." Or just, like, buy a humidifier.
Oh my god. So do you
Yeah,
think it
almonds,
was it the almonds? Or
the almond.
was it his nasty ass bed sheets?
I think it's much deeper. I think it's there's something she's, like, deeply disturbed, there's something wrong, the house is cursed, like, I think it's
So it's like a spiritual rash? It's like beyond an allergy?
and she's, like, blasting the heat in the house. Blasting the
Interesting.
heat.
Yeah, because she has no clothes that are appropriate for this climate. Like, she keeps
Mhm.
going out of the house in, like, mini dresses and ballet flats. Like, she doesn't know what wool is. Like, she has no clue how to dress for this climate.
And, of course, like, he's not gonna teach her, because honestly, it feels like he doesn't either, he's just, like, grown up in that climate, like, I bet he do you think he wears wool socks or cotton socks in the winter?
I think he wears whatever he gets at Costco. Alright, Nikki and Justigor, they were the first ones. Justigor says if
Mhm.
Nikki behaves, they can have sex for the second time.
Mhm, mhm. They're going on a little romantic getaway full of wine and
So much wine. He
yeah.
he says she gets more beautiful with every wine, and
Yeah.
I couldn't help thinking of that Tim and Eric sketch with Doctor Steve Brule where he goes wine tasting.
Yeah.
If if any of the listeners haven't read that, I highly recommend looking up that sketch. It's really, really funny, but
I like after they drink the wine, they're lying on the bed and they start cuddling. She loves to mount him. That's her move. She's always mounting him on the bed, and then he gets on top of her and puts his head under her shirt and goes, "Who are these 2 girls?"
yeah. Hi, hello.
About her boobs. And I was like, "Oh my god, man."
He something about his humor is, like, so dad-like. Like, he's 36, so he's not, like it's not as funny as if it was coming out of, like, a 16-year-old, but it's still very funny to me that he has such, like, a dad sense of humor.
His humor brings me a lot of joy. Like, I smile when he smiles.
And he like his English isn't great, so he just like messes up euphemisms or like he makes up his own euphemisms and
Mhm.
sayings all the time, and it's like pretty great. Like they ask him if they had sex, and he's like, "We had a second chance of love, but not for children. Like we have some intimate moments." Like, what the fuck? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Um,
He's speaking his own language.
so how long have they been in Moldova? Are you keeping track?
No, I don't know. Feels like maybe 3 weeks, a month.
That's
But
a
it could
little.
even be like 2 weeks. I don't know.
Yeah, to have sex 2 times.
They said it was like in the last week.
Mhm.
She's like, it's been a week, so I don't know. I didn't were you saying in an earlier episode, like, you thought you were suspicious that maybe he was just with her for the money, for her financial support, or that that was a big motivator?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
What do
You're
you
like,
think?
"Yeah, duh." I mean, I certain characters, I really like, I feel like that is definitely part of it, but I just have a soft spot for Justin or Igor, and I think I have a soft spot for both of them, and I'm just, like, kinda rooting for them, that for it to work out. Or that it's that he does love her and that he is gonna get past this, but if it's not, then it really sucks because she's obviously not getting her needs met and not feeling, like, loved.
This this just felt like the same with Gino and Jasmine, like, some of this feels it feels like she's trying to choreograph a storyline and he's not playing ball. Because, like, she's, like, the influencer type, she's trying to be, like, an artist, and then she's, like, freaking out about their status on Facebook, which also kind of points to how old she is. That kinda
Oh
gives
my
away
god.
her age that she
Yeah,
cares
I thought
about
the
Facebook
same
status.
thing.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't she says the relationship is a roller coaster all the time, and, like, it really is. Like, I think because they did have so many, like, sweet moments on this trip, it made me kinda believe in them a little bit more,
Yeah.
but, I don't know, she's incentivized him stringing her along if that is the case, because she's sending him money.
Yes, definitely.
So, like, that complicates everything.
Yeah, and it's complicated because he really wants to be the man in the relationship and
Mhm,
take care of things and keeps alluding to, or not even alluding, blatantly saying, like, "You're acting like a man."
mhm.
She is financially supporting him in these ways, which, you know
Nikki they're, like, making some kind of, like it looked really good.
oh my god, it looks so good.
Cheese pastry
I said,
thing.
"What is it?"
Oh my god, it looks so yum. But they're making that, and then Nikki asked if men in Moldova cook for women,
Mhm.
and both Justigor and the teacher are like, "Oh, yeah, they do as, like, a special treat."
Yeah.
And then Justigor is like, "The women in the US don't do anything, they don't cook, they don't clean. They're supposed to in the Moldova, they cook and clean and support the man, so the man wants to make love to her." And, like, I'm
Mhm.
assuming he means, like, cooking and cleaning so he can go to work and, like, be trad husband, and then he can come
Mhm.
home to have his trad wife, but that's not what they're in. That's not what's
Right.
happening. That's
Yeah,
not
I think
what's going to happen.
he's confused. He said this is a quote, he says he gets man vibes from Nikki, which it's just I don't know. I'm not trans, but the whole thing is makes me pretty uncomfortable.
Totally.
I feel like, "Nikki, I want you to find someone that."
'Cause her so much of her insecurity and so much of, like, the validation that she gets out of sex, it seems like it's, like, being validated as a woman being desired by, like, a hetero cis
Yeah,
man, and so,
yeah.
like, now she's trying to, like, kind of okay, this is maybe a bad euphemism because that's sex, but she's trying to put, like, a round peg in a square hole or vice versa
Yeah, yeah.
because she's with someone who has like such deeply ingrained traditional values.
There's a lot of people who a lot of men who want a partner, a feminine partner to, like, be more dominating,
Yeah.
and are really into that, and I'm kind of surprised he's not. Like, I said, "Justin equals lesbian." He just reminds I feel like they're like a lesbian couple, like, and he's like the butch who's like, just a little more silly, but, like, just kinda does whatever his princess wants to do, and he needs to embrace that.
It seems like he is kind of coming around to what that life might look like, but then it's like they're literally making this like traditional Moldovan dish with like a wood-fired oven, and I think it's like reminding him of where he's actually from,
Yeah.
and just having been with his family, like I think Nikki could go back to New Jersey and find someone who like understands the trans experience, like wants to be with a trans woman. It wants this whole influencer, Nikki Exotica, whatever's going on. But I think that she is so insecure. She's so used to rejection that that feels comfortable. That's more comfortable than like actually being vulnerable and finding someone that's going to like love her for like 100% her. So like I
Yes.
think she literally feels more comfortable having this roller coaster fight all the time and trying to find validation than just going and being vulnerable.
Yes. Is the plan that he's supposed to come to he's gonna come to America?
Yeah.
I would be curious, like, because I do like, not that he inherently has to be queer because he dates a trans woman, maybe you do, but I definitely get, like, queer vibes from him,
Hmm.
and I'm just, like, really curious, like, once getting out of Moldova, what his if seeing Nikki's friends that are more, like, openly queer, if maybe that would allow him to have an open mind and a more open mind about Nikki, but I don't know. I thought that they had, like, matching hoodies. I thought that was really cute. Like yeah, like, they were, like, these zip ups, and one was green and one was purple, but they were matching, and I thought, "That's cute." And that is why they're, like, a lesbian couple.
Something else I was thinking about is so they're talking about how they're like eating their like pastry thing, and then she's complaining that the engagement isn't on his she's not on his Instagram, his engagement isn't on Facebook. Okay, boomer. And he's like, that doesn't matter, like you've met my friends and family. And he says that like putting her on his social media would endanger his relationships more. But I would just like to point out that he was comfortable wearing a Nazi uniform on social media.
Yeah. Oh my god, I did forget about that. That definitely
I have to keep reminding myself of that too, because every time I want to have sympathy for him, I have to be
yeah,
like, no, he's a fucking idiot too.
yeah. I mean, I think he probably still talks to girls and has a lot of people on the side, and honestly doesn't wanna
Yeah,
I think he wants to compartmentalize his relationship with Nikki.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And that's like again, this is like it's like something for her to like push against and fight against. And I think again, I think that's where she feels comfortable. Like so many
Yeah.
like this relationship is so triggering for her, and yet it's like where she is comfortable, which is like a very bizarre place to be at almost 50.
Yeah, some people really crave not are very comfortable in, like, the chaos and the up and down in life in
Yeah.
general and, like, bring that drama in and because without it, it's scary. It's like things slow down, and then what comes up when you're not in a constant roller coaster. So
She like couldn't be happy like on their first day when they were just like having a picnic in the park. Like she was freaking out because it wasn't romantic and dramatic enough, and like that interaction told me so much about her.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, she's never going to be cool with
Yeah.
this guy that likes going to bed at 7 p.m. and playing chess in the park.
Yeah, or playing, like, puzzle blocks in the park, and it's true, he does, like she said in this episode, he's playing chess at night on his phone, and I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "I think this guy is really just, like, a dork. He's just a dork. He shouldn't be excused."
He's a piece of work. They're both pieces of work. So then they go to the wine tastery and, make
God.
out in front of very this guy seems so sweet and so kind, Rohan, and then it just seems like people come and get wasted and
Yeah.
just forget he's there completely.
Oh my god. Justin said as they take, like, one sip of wine I think they had been drinking before, that's the impression I got. He takes
Yeah.
one sip of wine and goes, "I feel like love vibes is coming."
He said vibes a lot this episode. Where else did he say
He said
vibes?
love vibes. He's just love vibes. But I mean, yeah, they were blackout. He was blackout, and honestly, that's what I think they were having fun. Like, that time together made me happy, and it made me, like, we've all been there where you're, like, just getting sloshed on wine and just flirting with someone, and it's really fun, and I love that there was just Rohan across the table to bear witness.
Rohan is a champ. Justice for Rohan.
Justice for Rohan.
Was he American? Like, I couldn't it seemed
I
like he
don't
had, like,
know.
an American accent, but I'm very curious how this guy wound up in the Moldovan wine industry.
Okay, I thought it was funny because the food they were making earlier looked so good, like that pastry, and then I thought it was funny the next morning when they were hungover, they were served, like, the most gross not gross looking plate of food, but not the plate of food I wanna eat when I'm hungover at breakfast. It was, like, 3 types of, like, cured mystery meat, tomatoes, and, cucumber. I was like, "God, bring back whatever you guys had last time."
That's like European breakfast, though. They have, like, a deli plate for breakfast in most countries
God.
with, like, hard cracker bread.
Ugh, why? Like, just like a give him, like, a hearty stew, Moldovan stew or something.
He's also eating with 2 forks, I noticed. I was wondering what the fuck that was. That was very silly. He was
Huh,
holding 2 forks at
interesting.
one point. I'm like, "This guy is" maybe he's still drunk. Maybe they're both still drunk, who knows? So, she brings up sex again because she brings it up literally anytime they are
Mhm.
talking together, which also makes me, like, question her intentions being on this show and intentions with him in general. Like, she literally brings up sex
Yeah,
at,
she
like,
does.
every turn.
Yeah, they haven't really ever talked about anything else.
So, like, what did you think about this? I, like, still am trying to understand how they, like, got to this argument. So I think she's like, "Okay, if we since we're not having sex, maybe we should just be friends." And then he starts to, like, explain fuck buddies?
Yeah, I got confused, and I think maybe they get lost in translation a little bit sometimes, even beyond, like, verbal language, I feel like maybe, like, emotionally too, because I don't know, Moldovans probably express things differently. Like, I thought it was really interesting in the last episode when they went to visit the parents, and the parents were so, like, open and kind of joking, and then all of a sudden the mom stepped outside and was, like, really emotional and crying, and
Hmm.
he was just like, "We don't show emotion, like, we keep it bottled up and make jokes," and I think he was trying to lead her along to ask about if he had fucked anyone else, but
Yeah, that's true. Like, sometimes I can't tell if he's making a very, very dry joke
Mhm.
because his humor is bone dry. She goes from, like, 0 to 100. Like, we see her in real time just get, like, so worked up over something that, like, could be a misunderstanding. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like, she doesn't give him any time to, like, figure out his English or, like, figure out the appropriate interpretation.
Mhm.
She just goes immediately to like, "You're cheating on me."
Yeah, but didn't he, like, admitted it?
Then, like, yeah, I didn't see him explaining fuck buddies as him admitting cheating, but then
Mm-mm.
she asked him about it, and then he just kinda, like, freezes and
Uh-huh.
doesn't deny it.
Well, she clearly says, which is such a people say this all the time, they're like, "Just tell me, like, I'm not gonna get upset, like, you can be honest with me," which I hate. It's like,
Yeah, it's 'cause it's never true.
it's not true, don't say that, it will be hurtful, but, yeah, I guess he admitted that he had been with other women up until their engagement with which was in August, and their engagement or their she applied for the K-1 visa in June. So there had been 2, 3 months of overlap, and I was surprised. I was like, "Have you really? Did you really not talk about this before?"
They had been, I think, talking for a while before they went to Mexico, and she decided to apply for the K-1 visa. So it's like, I think she assumed that they were in a serious relationship and boyfriend and girlfriend, and he wasn't having sex. And then he says it's better than masturbating and laughs. That really gave him away.
Do you think he meant that? Like, does he have some belief that masturbation is bad?
I don't know. Like, there could be a lot of, like, cultural misunderstanding here, maybe,
Yeah.
but, like, I just can't see a world where, like, every other country you are it's, like, assumed that if you're boyfriend and girlfriend, you are monogamous, and then for some reason in Moldova, it's not, you
Yeah,
know?
no, totally.
Like, you're not monogamous until you're engaged, you know?
I thought that comment was really weird too. Like, I don't think she's obviously not happy about it.
No, but just the way that he doesn't deny it
Mhm.
was really odd to me. So
Mhm.
I think that means that he did it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh my gosh, those 2. Do you think she goes home?
No. I don't so I have to think that he's gonna end up in the US, but it's like, that has to happen soon.
Alright, Rob and Sophie, I have to remind myself she's 23 and he's 32. She is
Ugh,
23 and he is
Rob.
32. And they've been dating for, like, 2 years. So, she was 21 and he was 30 when they started dating. Found out bowling is popular in England because the weather is so shitty. That kinda surprised me.
Yeah, it was interesting because I actually bowled earlier today. I guess I am back here.
How did you
And
do?
I did fine. I bet Sophie would have beat me, though.
Yeah, she was pretty good.
I thought it was ridiculous when he talked about he liked to go bowling with her because after she releases the ball, her there's a reflex jiggle in her I was like, "Oh my god." Can you imagine just, like, having a partner that is just like, "Oh, I like to do this thing with you because I like to see how your ass shakes."
I think it shows us exactly how deep Rob is.
Exactly. Like, if I respect that, you like, you can enjoy seeing your partner's reflex jiggle, but it seems like it kinda ends there with Rob.
Absolutely. They meet Rob's friends Ty and Tarai at this bowling alley, and these dudes are like the most LA people I have ever fucking seen. Like, this is how they dress for bowling.
Oh my god, I didn't think of that at all. You mean that they were just, like, kinda decked out?
Yeah, like Ty is wearing like a wide brim hat, and yeah.
They're also, like, gonna be on TV, and they know
Yeah,
that.
that's fair.
Like,
That's fair.
I would wear the widest brimmed hat if I knew I was gonna be on TV. So wide.
Fair enough.
Funny that they were wearing the, like, exact same color shirt, though.
Sophie's having a good time, and then Tarai just, like, is like, "So what's this I hear about you going through his phone?" Just, like, throws, like, this bummer bomb into their, like, perfectly fine afternoon.
Mhm.
We find out that Rob didn't tell them he had been sexting people.
Yeah, just a little omission.
And so Ty and Tarai, to their credit, they, like, immediately turn on Rob, and they're like, "Dude, I've been forming, like, this terrible opinion of your girlfriend, your fiance, because you're not telling us everything." And then they say he has big Leo energy, which was so funny and also so LA.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
He was sending and receiving sexy messages on Snapchat. What do you think about sending sexting through Snapchat with strangers?
Okay, I haven't been on Snapchat since, like, 2012. Like, I
Right.
didn't know it was still a thing. I guess it would make sense because the whole premise is, like, the message disappears,
Mhm.
but Sophie obviously saw the messages, so I don't know, it just seems he's just going to corners of the internet, and I'm sure there's many more corners than Snapchat, you know?
Yeah, totally. I feel like Snapchat is way worse because it's not like Instagram where you can, like, search a hashtag like big booty hoe or something and, like,
For
find someone.
example.
Like, Snapchat, you kinda have to know who you're looking for, and I've also heard that there's, like, paid Snapchat people, just like OnlyFans Unfiltered, you can, like, pay, like, adult creators for Snapchat.
Yeah. See, I haven't been on it in so long that I don't really know how it works anymore, but that's what I assumed. I assume it wasn't like some a friend of a friend of a friend or something. I assumed there's people probably yeah, there's like sexy pages, you know? And he's like yeah, it's Snapchat feels like a high school thing. Like, I do see younger people
Yeah.
using Snapchat still when
Uh-huh.
I'm, like, creeping over their phones, like, looking over.
I just found that super duper surprising. Um, and so then Rob says he feels so attacked.
What did he say? He's like, my blood got a little bit of blood and the sharks came." I was like, "Shut up."
This man is an eternal victim.
Yeah.
He says he's lost after this whole situation. It's like, "You made this situation, bro."
Cannot take accountability. Something he said
No.
last episode, which my partner and I have been saying to each other, when she was so mad and about his cheating, which I think it was cheating,
Mhm.
and he's, like, apologizing, and he's like, "I know you're, like, so mad, like, I know it's bad, but you just have to think about our future together." That's what he said, and I just like to use that, like, "I know, like, you're so mad at me, but you just have to think about our future." It's like
This future wherein you keep sending people your dick on Snapchat? Like
Yeah. Just focus on the future, baby.
Yeah. I also love when he told her, like, "It could have been worse."
He kept being like, "It's not cheating," and kind of even made her walk back on her, um, calling it cheating, but it was cheating because it was something that they hadn't agreed upon. Like, that was very clearly, like, it was not okay, and he keeps being like, "It was just online, all this shit." It's like, bro. He needs to grow up a little bit. He feels very both of them to me feel like they're very uncomfortable. Like, even in, like, their own bodies, like, in their skin, like, they just don't really feel at ease. There were a couple moments this episode, I think you said, like, "Oh, Rob was smiling and stuff." Like, they can get there, but you feel, like, really uncomfortable to me.
Dude, totally. That's a really astute observation. I think he's really insecure because he's done literally nothing with his life. He's, like, cut weed in Northern California. He's worked in a pot shop, and he failed at being, like, an actor or a dancer or whatever he came to LA to do. And then Sophie is, like, I yeah, very literally uncomfortable in her skin, like, got a nose job, she's got all these injections, like, I think she did something to lighten her skin because it looks a lot lighter than it did in those photos of her as a kid. So I think there's
Yeah.
something really intense going on with her, like, racial identity there.
Mhm, mhm,
I think Sophie gets, like, a huge pass because she's the one moving to a different country, and she's freaking 23.
mhm.
Rob, not so much.
I am definitely, like, team Sophie, like, I can see her I want her to, like, you know, gets older, like, blossom and get more comfortable with herself. I thought it was, like, I think part of it, like, the anxiety attack she had about telling Rob she was bi and just even how she said it, it's like, she's just holding so much back, you know?
I hope that she can get out of this relationship and learn from that, that if you're walking on eggshells around someone, that's huge red flag.
Yeah. Yeah.
I cannot wait for her mom to get here. I think her mom is like a cartoon of a person, and I can't wait for her to scream at Rob and tell Rob that he's a fucking loser.
Yay.
All right. Anything else about Rob and Sophie? Next chronologically is Sam, a new couple,
Yep.
finally.
No.
Sam, he's 30 from Cameron, Missouri. I didn't look up where that is, but it looks like it's in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
And Citra, 26 from Bogor, West Java, Indonesia, which
Mhm.
is it's in Asia, Southeast Asia, but it is a predominantly Muslim country, I believe.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so, and we learn more about her Muslim faith as we like meet them. So they we meet Sam sleeping in his car at a gas station. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh no, does
Mhm.
this man live in his car? Is he going to move Citra into his car?
Yeah.
Not quite. He's napping in the car to avoid the hour each way, to make the most of like the hour each way commute for his double shifts stocking warehouses. Um,
Oh, okay. I thought he was saying he has been living in his car for that reason, but that makes sense.
well,
Yeah.
they show him, he says that he like actually lives with his dad.
Yeah.
Unclear like when he goes to his dad's to sleep.
At first I was like, "Oh shit, like this is bad." But then like you learn like why he's sleeping in his car and they're like I work for an online real retailer and then you look and it's like obviously Amazon. There's Amazon.
Oh yeah.
And it's just kind of like, oh, this is the reality of, like, a lot of people who, like, have to work in these warehouses in the middle of nowhere, like, have to work these double shifts, like, have to sleep in your car, and it's I was just thinking how ironic because it's like all these folks are wanting to come to the US for love, but also because of the American dream, and just to see someone with his story, I was like, "Ah." Yeah.
Yeah, it is a very rural American story from like what I understand from the news. Like I hopefully this isn't just like a barrage of stereotypes, but he got addicted to pain pills from age 15 to 22. He said it made him a cold, numb person. And he says he's relapsed a few times, but now he's 30 and he considers himself sober. And we know that like rural America, like pill addiction is a really big problem. And then the jobs that are available to you are freaking exploitative Amazon jobs. So kind of a bummer. I don't understand how someone in this position can afford this K-1 visa. They are not cheap.
Oh, really?
No, it's like $10,000.
Wow. I mean, maybe that's why he has to work these double shifts.
Yeah, and you also have to like prove that you can support the person once they get here. It's wild to me. They dated online for 2 years and then they met in real life. And then maybe it's been a year since then. I wasn't sure about the timeline. Regardless, he's been dreaming about slapping her butt.
Yeah, she has a butt and he likes that.
So they show him in Indonesia and he looks so sweaty the whole time. Yeah, that's a very warm part of the world.
She's super cute.
She's so cute. She's so pretty.
Yeah.
She's talking to her friends and she asks what they think about Americans, and her friends say Americans are tall like Ryan Gosling. They
Mhm.
drink a lot of soda and they drink a lot of alcohol.
Mhm.
What do you think about Sam needing to convert to Islam?
Uh, a little worried about that. That, I've seen some other 90-day episode or seasons where a conversion to Islam has been a part of the relationship. I've actually only seen it, I think, where the woman was needing to convert, and I think that can be really, really challenging because there's a lot of changes that need to be made, but I feel like men and maybe would be slightly easier as a man to convert. Like you don't have to cover your body in the same way.
Well, I mean, not every Muslim woman chooses to cover their body either.
That's true. Yeah. She did when she was praying, which that was interesting, and then took it off. But it's converting to any religion is like a really big commitment, and I don't know if there's many Muslim people where he lives.
Oh, definitely not. I'm curious where he's gonna find a mosque to pray or even to, like, be converted.
Yeah. What do you feel? Or do you do you have good feelings about it?
No, he's, like, fucking up already.
Yeah.
He's like, the things that he says he's worried about are not being able to drink, like, shut up.
I mean, there's just so many different ways to be sober these days, but I was kind of surprised to hear that he drank.
I think he's gonna fuck it up. He's worried about drinking, which I think is I know it's, like, very cultural for us here, like, that's how people socialize in the US, but, like, grow up. And
Yeah.
then he's worried about Ramadan
Oh my
and,
god.
fasting.
Yeah.
I don't he just doesn't seem ready for this is what I'm trying to say. Like, that's like the biggest I don't know if it's the biggest holiday for Muslim people, but it's a very, very important one, and I know a lot of people that like Muslim people that, like, they drink, they have sex before marriage, they
Uh-huh.
don't subscribe to, like, a lot of, like, strict parts of Islam, but they do Ramadan. Like,
Mhm.
that is, like, the big one. So, I think he's gonna fuck up pretty hard in front of her dad, who is coming only a few days after she arrives.
Yeah. That really changes the stakes and
Mhm.
as Igor would say, the vibes.
The vibes are intense.
He's so afraid of her dad, and probably for good reason. Like, if that's gonna keep him in check, I don't really care.
I'm excited for this dad to come and scare him. Also, like, he says the dad has a vibe, like, "You're my son, but, like, if you fuck up, I'll kill you." And he's like, "Oh, maybe it's because he's Muslim." I'm like, "No, it's because he's Asian." That is that's big Asian dad energy.
Would you say that that's also, like could that be, like, cop energy?
Totally, yeah. He's a dad, he's a cop, and he's Asian.
Yeah.
Those all mean he has his eyes on you.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'm excited to see him fuck up in front of this dad.
Yeah.
Citra seems, like, so cute and fun, though. Like, why does she like this guy?
I don't know. She reached out to him. I bet she wants to come to the US, and maybe, like, I feel like a neck tattoo can go a long way.
Oh, you think she's like, "Oh, look at this bad boy," like, she's wanted a bad boy?
Yeah, and I feel like this face isn't nice, but from certain angles, he looks, like, more cute than others, and you can really, like, do that with the camera. She did see him in person, though. I don't know. I think I could see how she could project some kind of, like, bad boy image onto him, like sexy American bad boy. Just, like,
Yeah.
really see that.
Oh, I think she's gonna be so bummed out when she gets here, and she's gonna be in her dad's house with him talking about aliens all day while he's working double shifts at Amazon.
Yeah, that's the other thing, like, converting to Islam and them starting their life here, like, there's gonna be someone else there observing and judging and making their comments, which sounds really challenging. Oh, another thing was when he visited and proposed, he didn't have a ring.
Oh, that's right. He just, like, kissed her ring finger.
Right, and I said, "Okay, even buy, like, a cheap ass ring." All these other guys went and bought, like literally somebody I think he bought somebody bought, like, a $1 ring or some shit, like, buy a
Yeah.
cheap ring, buy something.
I think the first season, there was a really creepy old guy that proposed to, like, this Filipino woman with, like, a zip tie, and she just,
Oh,
like, wore the zip tie until she could get a real ring.
oh my god, that is cursed. That's quite scary.
Alright, Devin and Nick, I
I
thought
know.
this was really funny. You groaned already. Tell us about that.
It was just it was just a hard one to watch. I see Nick really he's like kind of an outgoing guy. He's really trying. Like he's trying to be engaged and stuff. And Devin is I wrote Devin is a low frequency gal.
Absolutely.
The whole time I was trying to get a gauge for like if Devin was being really understanding or supportive of, like, Nick's experience as being Asian in this white town, and or, like, where her politics or values lied, like, when they saw the Confederate statue, and she just was kind of like, "Oh, yeah, that's that," and, like, giggled. I was like, "So, like, what's like, do you have a critical lens on all of this?" I don't really know where Devin is and on all of that, and that's confusing for me.
I get the sense that she's pretty understanding and a little bit more hip than she lets on, or
You think so?
woke than she lets on. She says in an ITM when we first kind of met them that she's worried about him being like the only person of color in this town. And she knows that
Okay.
it's I mean, she talks pretty comfortably about the city being majority white
Yeah,
and
there's an awareness.
and that yeah, she has an awareness and, like, she doesn't push back, when they see this Confederate statue, and he's like, "So this guy was like there's a statue of this guy because he was fighting to have slaves?" And she's like, "Yes." Like, she doesn't push back on it, like, she doesn't try and, like,
Mm, yeah,
say, like, "Oh, but that's, like, part of our" like, what you hear from Southern people a lot of times, like, "Oh, but that's our heritage," and she doesn't do
yeah,
anything like that.
interesting.
She also I noticed when they were doing the fish fry this is jumping ahead a little bit, but they ask the family friend asks what South Koreans think about Americans, and Nick is like, "Oh, the stereotype is that there's greasy food and they're fat." Devin jumps in and she's like, "Well, unhealthy food is cheaper here." And I
Mhm,
thought that was like
mhm,
it was a small comment, but I think that that points to that she has, like, some social awareness around
yeah,
why people might choose foods or, like, what, like, institutional mechanisms are at work in the US.
that's true. Yeah, I think you're right, and I am excited to see more of that as more episodes happen.
They're leaving Memphis, and they stayed in a hotel because they didn't wanna do a 2-hour drive from the airport. I thought that was kinda dumb.
Maybe they don't get out much, or the parents don't.
Clearly. Mom says that Nick should take a good look at all the tall buildings in Memphis,
Oh
of
my
which there were
gosh.
probably, like, 3, because he'll never see them again.
Yeah, you can tell they hated Memphis.
I know, they just kept talking about how dangerous it was. I'm just like, they can't he's an electrical engineer, and he has experience he's, like, 30 years old. He, like, has years of experience as an electrical engineer in South Korea and Australia. Like, they're gonna move, right? To some place where he can get a good job?
I hope so.
I feel like if you're an electrical engineer, you should be, like, fast track like, how why does he even need the K-1? He should be here on, like, an
Hmm,
H-1B or whatever.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I could see both of them, like, because she had lived in Australia and Seoul, like, it seems like
Mhm.
they would wanna live somewhere a little more metropolitan.
Yeah. We just don't know enough about Devin. She j
We
we
don't.
have
I think she's just an enigma to me because she does not express or share much, like, Like, what is going on? But I don't know, like I thought it was cool when they were walking around the town and they saw she pointed out, like, that artwork she had done in the alley, and I was like, "Okay, cool, like, I didn't know you were an artist, and doing this cool stuff." So, yeah, I think there's a lot we don't know still.
Totally. Yeah, really an enigma. There's gonna be 6 adults living in this house. We don't know how many bathrooms.
Oh god. It's a big house. 3 bathrooms.
That's your guess or you know? You looked it up
Oh,
on
I
Redfin?
know. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that would be some good investigation. No, my guess is there's an ensuite bathroom for the parents. There's a powder room, and then there's, like, one other, maybe, like, double vanity bathroom for some of the guest rooms. So I think there's 3 bathrooms.
It looks like they have an ensuite bathroom.
Oh, you're right.
Their room looked nice.
It looked cool. I was like, "Invite me over."
Yeah, they have a big old TV and a couch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So her 2 sisters and her brother greet them. They look nothing alike. I would not guess that any of them are in the same family.
Her brother I said, "Caden." Caden looked like he looked like the dorky kid in, like, a '90s high school
Oh,
TV
oh my
show.
gosh. Pizza face, frizzy
Oh,
hair.
yeah.
So awkward. They're just standing there, they say nothing.
I know. I was like, "Is that just a they edited it to look awkward or just awkward, awkward?"
I don't know. I feel like Nick is gonna have to be, like, the entire personality for this entire family.
Truly. No, he truly is. He truly is.
Okay, so then after she beans him with the stuffed pig, they, like, go and walk around, and we kinda talked about walking around this very sleepy town. She
Mhm.
took him out on a Sunday, which I guess is just like, okay, they're there, but I hope they go out again when there's, like, people around because 'cause you're just showing him, like, a completely dead town where none of the businesses are open.
Yeah. I'm kind of afraid that the town is like that a lot, though.
Yeah, I haven't looked up the demographics, but I can't imagine there's that many people there. So then some family friends come over and they're doing a fish fry,
Yeah.
and Nick, who has lived in Australia, is like, "Oh, is this fish and chips?" And they were like, "Yeah, basically, it's Southern
Mhm.
fish and chips." And then we get the line the family friend asks what South Koreans think of Americans. So Nick says the stereotype is that there's greasy food and they're fat as they're eating trays full of
Mhm.
fried foods and no
Mhm.
vegetables, and this woman has the audacity to be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then dad chimes in and says that people are lazy and just want to go through a drive-through. And he's like, well, like he has data points. Like he has evidence. He's like, well, sir, Devin goes to a drive-through every day for her lunch. And this is
Mhm.
the American I'm closest to, and she's
Mhm.
eating this greasy food all the time.
Yeah.
And then he calls her a piggy.
And, like, kinda grabs at her stomach.
That was very not cool.
Yeah. Very not cool. I think this is a really, really big cultural difference. Uh,
Mhm.
you've spent time in Korea. You visited, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I've never been, but I have a few Korean people I know. There's just, like, a level of, like, directness that is not, like especially not, like, Pacific Northwest, but very direct
No.
and felt like a really big, like, cultural misunderstanding, and you're just like, "God damn it, Nick, like, read the room."
Yeah, South Korea is a very, very appearance-focused culture. Like,
Mhm.
I haven't lived there, but I know people that have lived there and, Korean American people who are just, like, going to hang out with my family there. It's just, like, a head to toe, like, breakdown of what you're fucking up with your appearance.
Mhm.
You are supposed to put your like, the reason that there's so much plastic surgery that goes on there is because you're supposed to put a headshot on, like, your CV when you apply for jobs,
Yeah.
focused on, like, especially women being, like, super skinny.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I know this is, like, different than Korea. But I just know, like, my Asian family has no problem talking about people's bodies at all.
Yeah, yeah, it's, like, definitely not as gentle.
No.
It's interesting because it's not like that doesn't exist in the US, like, we have such a huge problem with that, but
Mhm.
we know internally that it's not okay in quotations, and so that stuff
Mhm.
is, like, saved for to be really subtle comments made, to be
Right.
like, indirect comments made, and I just think about not to justify it at all, he said it out in front of all these people because he doesn't understand that it's a bad thing. There are a
Mhm.
lot of people in the US that are probably in relationships with someone that is would not say anything about their body, their partner's body in public, but would go home and then say something really hurtful to like, it's wrong, so you save it for a certain scenario.
Well, it's covert versus overt, which I think is one of the beautiful parts about 90 Day is we see in so many situations where how passive American communication is versus
Yeah.
other cultures, and it doesn't extend to, like, this type of thing, talking about bodies. It's like other cultures are just so much more direct
Yeah.
than we are, and I think Nick is gonna have a pretty sharp learning curve about how
Mhm.
to navigate our passive and passive aggressive communication style.
Definitely, definitely.
Devin also says she's given up on the battle with Piggy, so it seems like she's tried to tell him this a couple times, and I we're not super clear on what he thinks is dumb about it, but I'm a little bit nervous to figure out what he thinks is, like, so dumb about her objections.
Yeah, and just why he's clearly fixated on it.
Yeah, that's the weird part.
He's fixated on it in a weird way that I'm like, "Are you insecure about something about yourself?" I don't know, but it's there's something going on there. There wasn't a big reaction, but I kind of applauded a little bit the family, and they didn't necessarily, like, call him out, but they were okay showing that it wasn't okay. They were okay showing their, like, discomfort. They weren't just like, "Oh, ha ha," and laughed uncomfortably.
Yeah.
They were quiet and made him hopefully not in the most direct way, but know that that wasn't okay.
Yeah. I'm just very curious to learn more about these 2 because we really don't know a ton about their lives and where they came from or why Nick would think it's okay to, like, push this issue with Devin.
No, I'm just thinking about the next couple you're gonna say.
Ashley and Manuel, oh my god. I laughed out loud several times during their segments. Ashley is so funny to me. She's like Jasmine on the first season of 90 Day, just, like, unhinged, just kind of, like, in her own universe, just,
Mhm.
like, unintentionally so funny.
Mhm.
She's perfect. Oh my god. Can we please talk about her coffee consumption? 'Cause I'm still not over that.
I think he had a I would be pissed too. I would be confused, I would be angry, I that was insane.
She literally made an entire pot of coffee, poured it into 2 cups, and was, like, literally, like, flailing around the car while drinking another can.
Yeah, she had opened the Starbucks double shot, and you wonder why she had an anxiety attack on her way to
I
the
know.
airport.
Honestly, can relate. Like, my entire time in grad school, I was, like, shitting my pants and having panic attacks, and I'm like, "Why is this happening?" And it's like, "Oh, because I'm drinking, like, 8 cups of coffee a
Yeah,
day."
witches love coffee.
So Ashley's friend goes to run after Manuel for some reason and is like, "I gotta go after him because your man just runs from his problems." Unclear if he caught him. We don't
Yeah,
see them talking.
Manuel was long gone. I think Manuel fleeing from this candle shop was comedic. I loved watching Manuel. They're just sitting there talking so much shit about him, and Manuel has his essential oils. Watching that,
Yeah.
I was like, I would be pissed too. I'd be like, why are we not why are we spending money on this candle shop? What, it's probably like $100 a pop to make a freaking candle. Like, I would be pissed too.
I'm really starting to feel for we're just getting more about Manuel's backstory and like
Mhm.
she hasn't taken him to do anything that's interesting for him. He's literally like sitting in her dumb apartment surrounded by crystals
Mhm.
with this dog that he doesn't like,
Mhm.
and then she takes him to like eat gross food and make candles.
Mhm.
Like
Well, then I think in this episode, we do finally see him in his element. I said Manuel needed to like regulate. Like he needed to regulate his body and his mind. And I feel like he could not do that in Ashley's like apartment. And you finally see him in the water, and I feel like you see him more calm, and I think they're actually able to communicate and hear each other, or she's able to hear him at least for the first time. I thought it was a nice moment. There was like a tiny glimmer of hope of like a relationship.
that apartment probably feels like a prison at this point because she hasn't taken him anywhere
I
nice.
know. It has bad vibes. For all the crystals, and the crystals aren't doing enough.
Did you notice that when she went back to the house and he was there, had his phone propped up on a crystal watching football?
I didn't realize it was a crystal, but I love that. I
They like zoomed in on it. It was so funny.
love
I also like that she's she's like trying to talk to him. She's screaming, "Quieres casarme or no?" Like that's not how you like lead into a productive conversation. Like
Manuel,
screaming.
mi
Well,
vida, ¿quieres casarme or no? Her Spanish is like it's so it's like directly translated English sentences to Spanish. Like
yeah.
none of it is like how you would actually, I mean, at least I think they can communicate okay, but it's really fun to listen to her Spanish.
It's very clunky.
Yeah, which makes me so curious about how she learned, because she obviously has she has a good vocabulary. She can string phrases together, but like how did you learn, because nobody speaks like this.
Maybe she just like me, she like learned in high school and then just never really spent
Yeah.
any appreciable time
Yeah.
speaking it.
Yeah, I think what surprises me is like that she can communicate so much. It's just
Like she's been speaking he's been there like what, 2 or 3 weeks. She's been speaking Spanish to him a bunch and it doesn't sound any less clunky. Like it sounds
yeah,
the same as it did on day 1.
naturally.
She says she was naive to think he would apologize. Like, oh my god. Never expect like just don't expect an apology. Like you
No.
have to like give yourself closure. Also, you're trying to marry this man baby
Mhm.
who literally just gets up and runs away
Mhm.
when he's frustrated. So, yeah, you're going to have to like set your expectations
Yeah.
way lower.
It's such a like she walks in and he's like ignoring her. She's like, "Mi vida, mi vida." And he's like, "Estoy viendo fútbol. Estoy viendo fútbol." Like, don't interrupt me. Just classic
I
man.
how does this like she's just like, like girl power, like witchy, like I love being a black woman, like my mom's a strong black woman. Like she just seems like so overtly feminist and then she
Mm,
picks this very traditional seeming like
yeah, very.
macho dude. Like
Yeah.
what is with that?
I don't know. It sounds like their sex life is pretty good.
Yeah. She's stigmatized. Yeah, you're right. That's it. She's about as deep as Rob in some respects.
I think that's why I say delusion. I just think she's delusional. She's has some idea of what it is, and
Yeah. Delu So she says they're going to do some wedding planning, and then
mhm.
they drive to have a garbage plate.
Yeah. The best way to wedding plan is over a garbage plate.
So, okay, it's home fries and macaroni salad topped with cheeseburger and hot dogs,
Topped with
topped with meat sauce, and then mustard and onions.
and then she put hella ketchup on that.
Like a cup of ketchup on it.
Oh.
She literally says as they're going in, she's like, "Manuel's gonna have so much diarrhea." Like, then
Yeah,
why are you taking him
and I
here?
love that he admits that he's been on the toilet for 60% of the time that he's been in America.
He just wants some, like, fish stew and
He
ceviche,
wants an un
like
she's like, "What do you want at the wedding?" He's like, "Cevichito, un cevichito." He's like, "Just give me some good food." Yeah.
Okay, also, so, like, she says they're going wedding planning. What does that conjure for you? Is that looking at stuff on Google while over a garbage plate?
Well, your I think your wedding planning would be its own thing considering I know that there's spreadsheets made and there's and you've never actually had a wedding to plan.
Fair
So,
enough.
it
Fair
actually,
enough.
for me, might be like, "Okay, yeah, let's go get some food and, like, look at flights." But I probably wouldn't do a garbage plate.
No, oh god. I thought maybe, like, when she said we're going to go do some wedding planning, like, "Oh, we're gonna go, like, look at a venue or,
Yeah,
like, go get our marriage certificate or something," and she's literally just Googling flights
yeah.
in a diner.
Roxy, this is how some of the world lives.
I don't know that life. I never want to know that life.
Ooh, I wonder what her sign is.
Oh, what do you think it is?
Mm, I could see Aries.
Oh, you're spot on. I'm not gonna argue with that. No. I think that's it. Just, like, because she seems like when she's not being driven to insanity by Manuel's machismo, she's actually pretty chill and, like, fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, like, she's just been they're just driving each other insane ever since he got there.
God. Do you know so is she, like, full-time witch? Is that how she makes an income? Or have they said? Like, I'm curious what the financial situation is.
Well, I don't know. Like, I remember early on, like, reading her bio, like, in the Meet the Cast things, like, she studied biology and was trying to get some kind of, like, ecotourism thing going.
Hmm. In Rochester?
No, like, probably taking people on retreats,
Okay.
but I haven't looked into it
Mhm.
since. But
Mhm.
I'm guessing she probably has some kind of, like, boring biology lab something job and then does the witch stuff on the side.
We never see her, like, going to work, but I guess that might be not looped in.
I mean, they can film this shit over a couple of weeks,
That's true.
you know,
Yeah,
and, like, maybe
yeah.
just on the weekends or whatever, so maybe she's just like, I don't want anyone to know that I wear scrubs to work, like, you better not film me
Totally, totally.
going to work. I need to be if I'm gonna be on this show, I need to project my witch image."
Yeah, that's the persona. The money situation just, like, really stresses me out because
Mhm.
obviously it's stressing them out. That's a big part of their relationship.
I'm kind of disappointed in her after their, like, conversation on the beach
Mhm.
because it sounds like he asked her to send $100 to his family because he's not working, and she kind of threw a fit about it.
Mm. Yeah.
And the way that she talks about it to her friends is like, he says this when they like get back home. He's like, you don't need to like put my person, like our money stuff on blast
Yeah.
with your friends, which
Yeah.
is true. He's right. Um, and she's like making a big deal about something that should just be a conversation between the two of them. Like,
Did did they at the beach, she said she didn't wanna send 100 a month? I thought that she said, "Okay, we can send 100 a month, and then after the wedding, we can talk about sending more."
I think he had been sending like, I think he said something like, I make $600 a month. I send half of it to my family. So that means that he has 2 kids and then potentially like his mom and some other people
Mhm,
surviving on a third of what they've been surviving on,
mhm. Yeah.
which is like, and for her, like I completely understand where he's coming from. And then she's finally like, when they're talking about like the price of these flights to Florida, which is like, why do they have to get married in Florida? Like,
I
what?
know, I know.
Like, who's coming to, like, you're having a destination wedding, but you don't have anything else together, and you're gonna make all these people
Yeah.
fly to Florida. I'm like, what is going on here?
That's why I think she's living in a bit of a delusion. I think she's living in a fantasy. I think she had, like, this vision of how things were going to be, this vision of her wedding, and is just having a really hard time coming to terms with the reality of what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, she says she doesn't like feeling guilty now about not sending money to his family. Like when she's like, now she's starting to think about prices and think about how she could spend the money differently. And I'm like, okay, well, that's Manuel's reality. And now you're trying to be his family. So now you have to share that. That's part of the deal. That's what he's been trying to get you to understand.
Like, they can have a relationship and he can love her and he can want to come and make more money for his family by coming to the US, and that, like, those 2 things,
Hmm.
I think they can talk about that and figure out how they're gonna do that and come up with a plan and have that be something they wanna do together, but if that's something Ashley doesn't want to do, doesn't want doesn't want that responsibility, then they shouldn't be in a relationship together.
I think, yeah, he's definitely scamming, but he definitely likes having sex with her.
Yeah, no, I think that there's, like, a lot of relationships, like, all relationships have there's different dynamics at play, and it's never just like, "I like you and you like me," or "I love you, you love me." Okay, there's just always more things there's at play.
Absolutely. I thought it was funny that when he's, like, flopping around in the lake and finally, like you said, feeling regulated and relaxed, he's like, "Our relationship is really beautiful, and I'm marrying her for love. I'm marrying her for love." Like, I'm like, "Okay, who are you trying to convince here?" So, I'm glad he, like, now he knows he can go to this place and, like, relax at least. You know, if he needs to run away, he can, like, run to the lake instead of just, like, running down the street. Next time on, we see Gino and Jasmine go somewhere sunny. I'm assuming Florida. I'm assuming it's Miami. And then
Okay,
she's gonna
okay.
like love being there and speaking Spanish to everyone, and she's gonna want to move there.
Yeah.
That's my like every other Latin American person that is on the show.
Yeah. Mhm.
Clayton and Annalie go to a petting zoo. Citra arrives. Nick gets a talking to about Devin's dad, and Nick is like, LOL, Americans are fat though. I'm excited for that. Rob freaks out about Sophie's bisexuality, so I'm really not looking forward to that. He is such a
Is
piece
that
of
what's
shit.
gonna happen? Does he get mad about it?
He has to make literally everything has to be about him.
Yeah.
Like, he cannot be happy or excited for anyone for, like, 1 fucking second.
Uh,
It has to be about him. He's textbook narcissist.
yeah.
And then Nikki starts throwing her shit in a bag, but yeah, this is just a peak in their roller coaster, I'm gonna assume.
Hmm.
Maybe she goes home. I don't freaking know.
Oh, we should do Chuck Fuck Mary.
You mean fuck Mary kill? Chuck fuck Mary?
Yeah.
That's what you call it? Do you have a Chuck fuck Mary?
Okay, well, there's Rohan, the wine
Oh,
guy.
he's gotta be in there for sure. Could do the baker lady that's like teaching them how to make that pastry.
Okay.
We don't we don't get a lot about
I
her.
don't get a lot.
Ashley's friends too. Her kind of like friends that are there with the we could
Yeah.
do them as a pair.
Okay. Them as a pair, the baker and Rohan.
Okay, let's see. I think that I would want to marry the baker so that she can make that whatever that was for me every day, or maybe like teach me how to do it, and then maybe I could bake it for her as a
Mhm.
treat.
Mhm.
And then when I cook and clean for her and she supports me, then we can have like great Moldovan sex,
Mhm.
as Justigor said. I think I would spend a night with Rohan.
Mm,
He he could tell me about wine and then I could like listen to him instead of just being drunk, and then we could like maybe that's we could have a night where we're drunk together and he's not just like staring at drunk people for like once in his life.
mhm.
And yeah, then I can't really get behind Ashley's friends. They seem fun, but like the way that they kind of egg her on when she's already like
Yeah.
being like so extra and problematic. I can't
Yeah.
with them. So get rid of those two.
That's a good answer. I think I would You know what? I think I might marry Rohan because I feel like he loves wine, we assume. He's probably like he probably maybe likes to travel, has seen some things, like just like an interesting, attentive man, I would hope. Husband.
It seems like it, yeah.
And I also think I would fuck the baker. She just had like a little something in her eyes and she was talking about her husband. Like, she's just like, she's, like, up to no good, you know?
Would you bang her on that like that big table where they were making the pastry? That would be hot.
Yeah, I would do that. Hey, if push came to shove. And then also, like, they're it's not that they're, like, not cute or hot, but it really is, like, that couple, like, just to be, like there's yeah, like, to be, like, so close with Ashley or, like, there's gotta be something. Like, you guys, they were egging her on, and they were talking so much shit right in front of Manuel. I was like, "Y'all are drama," and I see it.
Yeah, yeah. I imagine that they probably have a lot of these just like wine nights where they talk shit. And that's
Mhm.
all, I live for that.
Who are we to judge?
Yeah, but maybe don't talk shit in English in front of someone that like can't about someone that is right there and
Yeah.
can't understand you. Like
Yeah.
kind of unforgivable. All right. That is all for us. Thanks so much, Alex, for being here. Really appreciate it. I get really funny pictures of this baby that Diana made, and every time I talk to her, it seems like he throws up. It's like every like 5 to 10 minutes, and she
Oh.
lets me know.
Uh-huh.
Um, so he's doing great. They're all doing great.
Aw.
So tune in next week for more stupidity. Thanks, y'all. Bye.